Benevolence, dear mortals. I'll be your curator. You can call me Whimsical William. Welcome to my channel. Okay, so in this video, I want to tackle some heavier subjects and tie those subjects in with anime. The subject at hand, the one that continued to be brought up by this anime, the light was shed on the subject of loneliness. And the anime in question is Fruits Basket. I recently finished the 2019 version of the anime, and it was beautiful. It was an emotional roller coaster. I shed a lot of tears while watching this anime. All 3 seasons of it, but the 3rd season really tied things together, and it really showed how an unlikable character, I'll try not to have any spoilers like usual, but one of the most unlikable characters gets a little bit of redemption. But in the midst of that redemption, their vulnerability began to become a great beacon of light for those who feel the same but don't quite feel as aggressive about that feeling. And the feeling is, again, loneliness. The extreme loneliness that this character felt had many different layers and levels. One being, when this character was born, they were promised to be loved, to be cared for, to just have all these things at their disposal, to have all these people connected. They never would be alone. So when the reality came that there were more and more people ripping away from them, the people that were supposed to be connected, the fear became violent and the vulnerability became too great for the person to bear. So they lashed out. They hurt the people that were still there, the people that were still connected, the people that just wanted the best for them. And this happens all the time. People tend to hurt those who care about them out of frustration. We treat our loved ones like punching bags. It's really sad, but it's the human condition. This anime displays that human condition in a very realistic way, despite having several elements of supernatural storylines intertwined within it. So we're talking about loneliness. That one character, the loneliness is the fact that everyone's ripping away, but there's more layers to that particular character's loneliness. When you're placed on such a pedestal, when you're perceived as so important and so precious, that can give you a form of isolation. And isolation is a form of loneliness. There are many different forms of loneliness. There are people who are surrounded by people, they feel totally alone. And then there are people who are just absolutely alone. They have no one. They want to be surrounded by people, but they have no one. So again, these topics have many different layers. I'll try not to have an ADHD brain and tackle them all one by one. So I'm going to talk about the character that was promised connections and love and to never feel lonely, which are preposterous things to promise a child. This child was a chosen one, and that trope happens a lot in anime, but for this particular anime, it actually makes sense because it intertwines with the supernatural storyline, meaning the spirits of all the zodiac animals were intertwined with this family of characters, the Somas. The spirit of the god that had banquets and spent time with the zodiac animals was in the body. The spirit took over the body, the person that was promised all these great things. So it was very believable for this character to feel that way, but it shows that even with no supernatural circumstance that we could be placed upon pedals because the way that we look, our academic prowess, we could be considered the chosen ones because of who our parents are. And these little attributes at a young age cause complex trauma or complex PTSD, and of course childhood PTSD, which can cause us to feel loneliness as adults And that's exactly what happened to this character. With or without this supernatural storyline, this character didn't understand how to create connections because all the connections were there. So once those skills were needed as they were losing people, they panicked. They're like, I don't know how to hold on to anything. Everything was just there for me. And that's kind of like what happens when you place someone on a pedestal. They expect to be loved and to not feel loneliness. They don't know how to approach connections with other people. So that's my gist of that particular form of loneliness. But there are many other forms of loneliness in this anime that really hit me hard. And there's another character who's just shunned by the zodiac animals, or the other people that were possessed by the spirits of those animals. They were shunned by everyone. And their loneliness, whenever someone would get close, they would get very defensive, or they just didn't understand how to reciprocate the closeness. So they lash out, they'd attack, or they'd run away. It's fight or flight for this character. And it's really sad to watch because I felt a lot of ways like this character. I've also felt like the last character that I was talking about, not necessarily the chosen one, but more so the person that, as a child, it was just very easy for me to form connections. And over time, it became more difficult to keep and hold on to these connections. And that was due to my childhood trauma. And the Somas within Fruits Basket, they all had childhood trauma. They all dealt with so much pain in their own different ways, whether they were isolated because they were promised to be so much more, or they were isolated because they were told that they were nothing. In the case of this next character, or the last character I was talking about, they were treated like garbage and continued to get treated like garbage. So they felt like not only they were garbage, but they deserved garbage. What really broke my heart about this character was when our main character, I believe this is the main character of Fruits Basket, Toru Honda, she professed her love. She just without any strings attached. I don't care that you're cursed. I don't care. Everyone looks down on you. I admire you. I love you. I care about you. You can't change my mind. His reaction was, I'm disappointed in you. And the inner monologue and what I got from the situation was, how can you love someone like me? How can you care about someone like me? I'll pull you down with me. Like, I'm nothing. I can't be loved. Even if I love you back, it's just not possible. He ran away and he immediately regretted it. It's another form of loneliness where your childhood trauma and your sense of self-worth causes you to self-sabotage and to push those away that clearly care about you. And I know words are just words, but Miss Toru Honda has proven time and time again to this character that she loves him and that she cares, and that she doesn't feel pity for him or feel sorry for him. She genuinely loves him for who he is, everything that he is. It was very painful to watch him reject her when he wanted her just as much, when he wanted that love. And I find myself in that same boat, the boat that's sinking. People that care about you, through your mind's perception, I care about them. It's that simple. But your actions are just, no, I can't let this person do that. And everybody has their own reasons. Some people feel like, I can't be loved because, I'm trash, or I can't be loved because I'll find a way to ruin it. Some people, I can't be loved because I haven't atoned for my sins. I can't forgive myself. And this character felt a lot of those things. It wasn't just the character's low sense of self-worth, but it was also guilt for some things that happened in the story as children, when this character was a child and when our main character was a child. Just guilt, low self-worth. It was just really deep, really hurtful, really sad. And we have another character that deals with loneliness by delusion. It's like, I'm not alone. Or if I'm alone, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't matter. And this character just didn't really seem affected by anything, but when everything was said and done, you knew that they felt everything, but their guard and their walls were just too powerful. Like they were in a prison and walls within, like blocking the world out, but they also had walls within them. It was a very elaborate labyrinth of emotions, just tangled and twisted. Very complex character, even though that character didn't have that much screen time. There's so many amazing characters, but overall, the loneliness of the show, just being singled out or feeling like you have to give up because the circumstances won't allow you to get close. The circumstances were supernatural, but in our daily lives, sometimes we don't purposely push people away, but we keep everyone at arm's length for a variation of reasons that to our inner monologue makes a great deal of sense, but from the outside looking in, it's preposterous. It's like you're pushing people away or keeping people at arm's length to defend yourself, to be safe, but you're not safe. The more you defend yourself, the less exposure you get to the world, which sounds kind of safe, but you're ill prepared for anything that gets in anyway. You could protect yourself as much as you want, but there's never a such thing as 100% defense. Something's gonna get in, and since you were so ill prepared, you're gonna get destroyed by something that's not even that powerful, not even that, there's a better word for power. Something that's not intended to destroy you, that will destroy you. So I've learned from this anime that the best way to, I can't say get over loneliness, but to get through loneliness and to get better at dealing with it and healing with it is to simply do your best to connect with others in baby steps. It's hard at first, especially if you've never been good at socializing or social skills. It just takes a leap of faith to just be awkward for a while and to just put yourself out there into the world. We're social creatures. We're not designed to be reclusive. And when we go against the human nature that we have and that we are, it ages us. It physically hurts us. We get sick. It's been proven through many examples in science how the reclusive human being just doesn't bide well, not just in society, but health-wise and mental health-wise. Health isn't always just a physical thing, but being completely reclusive and cutting the entire world off is very unhealthy for your mind and your body. And it shows in this anime when these characters slowly lose their grip on reality and their own sanity. They go from yelling at each other and hurting each other with words to literally stabbing each other in the backs. And it's a very painful thing to watch because it could be us. Even though those are fictional characters, the emotions, the words, the dialogue, the situations are based off of things that have happened or could happen. That part is terrifying because it's so easy for any of us to feel alone. All we have to do is to either give up socializing, which is just a decision. You just literally don't talk to anyone. You could literally disconnect yourself. For some people, it's easier than others. For some people, they're never on social media. They don't talk to people in real life. They might work remotely, so they could literally disconnect themselves from the world effortlessly. For other people, it might take a little bit more. Maybe they're addicted to social media. Maybe they always have people checking up on them and people that want to stop by and say hello. So it takes a little more effort, but it is just a decision and it could really change your life. But on the flip side, for people who go out their way to disconnect with people, for people who don't trust anyone, oh, my circle is small, those crowds of people could literally change your life by reaching out. And, the pride tells us that it's a two-way street, and we feel silly being the one that always reaches out. It's for your mental health. And you also think, if I am tired of reaching out, that's an exercise in communication, effective communication, because not all levels of communication are equal. But to calmly tell the people that you care about, hey, I realize that I'm the only one reaching out. It would feel really good, and it's important to me if you'd reach out sometimes too. Average person, they would consider it, they would try it. And if it's difficult for them, you could work through that. You might even lose friends over that, which is insane because they probably weren't your friends to begin with. They're probably using you for some type of benefit for themselves. I say all that to say, don't let pride or fear or any other hindrance stop you from connecting with the outside world. Don't succumb to loneliness. Don't drown in it, because it's very hard to pull yourself out of once you get too deep. Loneliness is almost a cancer, and it can destroy you if you let it. Fruits Basket is a masterclass on how important genuine kindness is from the main character's perspective, Toru Honda. If you don't follow the story or the character development of any other character, pay attention to her. Toru Honda is naive, she's selfless and pure. So pure that she's willing and able to call herself out when she's not pure, which in turn makes her pure, makes her more pure. And she's selfless. She's willing to get hurt to help someone else, which is a dangerous thing to be. But this anime doesn't glorify those who are willing to give you everything that they have, even if it's at the cost of them losing themselves. It points that out, and it makes you see the darkness of being selfless and the harm that you can cause yourself because of it. Letting people physically hurt you just to make a point. Allowing people to use you like a punching bag because it helps them heal. You destroy yourself by allowing that. But a little bit of that sometimes is so important for the right people. Some people need to see the monster in themselves through your eyes to understand what they've become or what they're doing, because they're not monitoring their emotions or taking care of themselves. You not taking care of yourself could help someone else realize they're not taking care of themselves. I don't recommend regularly doing that. And I also recommend being very careful who you allow that power, because it leads to a lot of people or one person just really taking advantage of you and hurting you. And when you're feeling loneliness, it's amplified. When you're lonely, you take so much more abuse. It's another downside about feeling lonely. You get a taste of not being lonely, and it's from people that don't care about your feelings. Oh, they could run you into the mud. They could destroy you. So yeah, I learned a lot from this anime as far as like how these characters deal with the darker sides of themselves, their childhood traumas, their connections with each other, and their loneliness. Like how loneliness makes us grasp and clutch and hold tightly to people to the point where we make them want to fly out of our arms. Like we suffocate people because we're so lonely and we don't regulate our emotions. We just dump them all on this person that was kind enough to embrace us. So it's very important to be careful about, number one, how you feel and how your feelings affect others. It's so important to have empathy and to really regulate what you do to other people, and not just physically, mentally. Like, be careful dumping your life story on people that just can't handle it. You don't know if they can handle it. And just an example, but your loneliness could really take you out of character, so be mindful of that too. I learned a lot from this anime. I may have missed some points. I didn't write a script. This is all freestyle, just what I felt after watching this incredible anime. I highly recommend it. You might not cry like I did. I cried a lot because the pain in these characters was so relatable. It might not be relatable to you, but you will see the human condition. You might not cry. You might not like the characters. You might think the story's weak. There's no real fighting in it. You know, it's not an action anime for all intensive purposes, but it is a masterclass in character development, and also it's a masterclass in the human condition and how we react or ignore each other, how we coexist. Absolutely beautiful. So again, Fruits Basket, I recommend the 2019 version. The animation is really nice. The characters, they look great. The backgrounds are great. You can really just get into it. That's all I got. Thank you so much for checking out another video. And if you like the content, if you like these more serious videos, let me know. Subscribe if you feel like it, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.